So I almost quit writing. It's kind of crazy to hear myself say that out loud, especially considering it was never really a conscious decision. There was never a moment where I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, I don't want to be an author anymore. But looking back, I was definitely on the path towards quitting writing, potentially for good. And now, considering how big writing is in my life, that sounds pretty crazy, but it's the truth. I'm making this video for anyone out there who's considering quitting writing themselves. Or maybe you're not considering quitting, but you're worried that you might. I'm going to briefly talk about how I almost quit writing and then talk about how I decided not to quit and how I found my love for writing again. These days, I spend as much time as I possibly can writing, but recently it hasn't always been that way. I think my struggles with writing started when I first went to college. My freshman year, there were so many things to do and so many people to meet that I kind of just put writing aside. It was hard to find time to write, especially considering all the work I had as an engineering student. That being said, freshman year, I was still super excited about becoming an author. I didn't always write every day or every week, but I would constantly think about my story ideas. However, once the pandemic started and we were all sent home, everything began to change. When COVID first started, I was actually writing more than I had in a long time during college because I felt like I had nothing else to do. But then after I completed one of my drafts, I just stopped. It wasn't a planned break or anything like that either. I just didn't feel the motivation to write. And things only got worse going into sophomore year. In fact, I'm pretty sure I didn't even log into my writing Google account sophomore year. I wasn't even thinking about writing. Sophomore year was also a pretty rough year for me academically, and junior year didn't get any better. Through all that time, I wasn't thinking of actively quitting writing, but it was also clear that I wasn't doing anything to push my writing career forward. I also started thinking about my story ideas a lot less than I used to. For that time span of about 2 years, I basically didn't write at all. I think the only thing that kept me involved in the writing community was running my writing Instagram page. And to be honest, I think that might have been what saved my love for writing. What really motivated me to make this video is when I saw a comment on one of my posts where someone was talking about how they hadn't written in 2 years and they really wanted to get back into it. And at first I thought 2 years is a long time. But then after thinking about it for a second, I remember, yeah, that's kind of the situation where I was in. I remember looking back at this time too, I also wasn't really thinking about writing when I thought about my future. I wasn't really thinking about, okay, once I get this job, I'm also going to start trying to publish a book, which I think about all the time now, how I'm going to balance work and writing once I get a job. But then I was really just starting to settle in about, well, this was going to be my life, and I don't know. On top of all the schoolwork and other things that really prevented me from having time to write, I think what really prevented me from writing during this time was the fear that anything I produced wouldn't be good enough. I remember after writing one of those drafts when we were first sent home for COVID, I remember reading it and thinking, this is complete garbage. And I think there was the first time in my life where it really settled in my brain that maybe this dream isn't going to happen. For the first time, I thought maybe I'm not meant to be a published author, and that thought was kind of terrifying. In general, during those 2 years where I wasn't writing, my confidence was pretty low in everything. I also felt low confidence socially and academically. During these 2 years, I also noticed my writing platform on Instagram began to stagnate. I wasn't posting as much as I used to, and when I was posting, my posts weren't as inspired because I hadn't been writing. And I think that stagnation and growth only added to my self-doubt as a writer. I think the other big factor was I was so scared about putting something out that wouldn't be good enough, especially considering how many followers I had. I didn't want to disappoint anyone. And even though I didn't come forward and give up, subconsciously, I feel like I did. That being said, here we are today, 2 years later, and I've already written 40,000 words to start January. So what changed? To be honest, just how I feel like there was no one defining moment where I actively quit writing, there was also no defining moment where I picked it back up again. A big part of it was definitely support I got from Instagram and other platforms where followers would reach out to me and ask me how I was doing on my projects. And that's what reminded me that people still cared about what I was trying to write. I think as my grades began to rise too, I also began to gain my confidence in life in general. I think another big shift for me mentally was when I was watching my favorite shows, I began to miss the creative element of creating my own stories. And for the first time, I feel like I actually took the advice of writing for myself and not really caring what other people thought about what I wrote. I felt like I was writing because I wanted to write. And don't get me wrong, when I first started writing again, it was rough. I think I was only putting up 200 or 300 words per hour, but I was enjoying it. I also wasn't writing every day. I was taking days or weeks off at a time, but the point was I was writing again. Now, after some time, I feel like I'm enjoying writing more than I ever have. I'm even regularly posting on Wattpad now. If you're worried about quitting writing like I almost did, my best tips for you would be to lean into the writing community and lean into your love for writing. Also, make sure to take care of your mental health first. With everything going on around the world and in my life around the time I almost quit writing, it's clear that there are definitely some mental factors that were playing a role. And now that I'm mentally in a better headspace, my writing shows it. Anyway, that's all I really had for this video. I kind of went off script for this one because I kind of just wanted it to come from my heart. Anyway, that's about all I have for this video. I kind of went off script for this one because I kind of just wanted it to come from the heart. Let me know in the comments if you ever consider quitting writing, and let me know why you didn't. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Good luck on your writing journeys.